Hello, guys. So we have here a special guest of mine. Really fun dude at the track. His name goes by Heavy D. How you doing, Heavy?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Just trying to make it, trying to make it. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into the moto life? The moto community. What brought, what got your attention that brought you into the moto community?
Oh man, I've always had a crazy fascination with like dirt bikes and motorcycles in general. I've always loved it. But when I was a kid, you know, at home on the weekends, chilling with my parents, like after I get done mowing grass or something, just being house chilling with my dad, he scrolled through TV and like every Saturday, it seemed like he would always scroll and like land on a motocross race. And like around that time, it was like I'd always see Stewart and, you know, never really got to go to a race at that time, but I just always seen it, loved it. And, never knew. We come to find out my dad used to mechanic back in the day and he knew a lot of people. Knew guys like Kevin Walker, Damon Bradshaw, Jim Neese, and list goes on. And worked for a guy named Greg Templeton that was big into it as well. And so finally, like one, I just always begged for a dirt bike and begged for a dirt bike, and finally, he bought me an old ass CR60, and the thing was like stupid fast. And I rode it a few times, and I like did a wheelie on it, and it scared me. And then I put it away, didn't ride it for like 2 years, and then all of a sudden one day, his buddy Greg comes by the house and says he's getting back into it, and it's a track built across the street from my house. A guy named Lance Linkle built. He owned the land, and come to find out, he grew up and went to school with my mom, and my dad knew him from back in the day. Yeah, so his nephew Garrett rode, and he was like hella good. Still is when he rides. And so I went over there and seen it firsthand. Him, my buddy Michael Mitchell that rides for Team Babbitt's Kawasaki. Um, I seen them, and dude, I was just infatuated. I was like, all right, I want to do it. Like I seen it, I want to do it. And my dad made me beg for a year before he bought me another bike, and that's when I actually got into it. And honestly, from there on, I did it. And then once they, closed down that track, and well, they didn't really close it down at the time. JGR came in and took it over and used it as their test track. So that's when I met guys like Josh Hansen, who like gave me the name Heavy D, nickname Heavy D, and Josh Summey and Grant and my buddy Garrett and all those guys. And that's just kind of how I got into it. And when I got into it, I just like been hooked ever since.
Yeah. You know, when I started out, I was on a JR50, and was just putting around in the backyard. And my dad was like, all right, well, we'll take you a couple of races, see how you do, see how you like it. Went to Kathy's, uh, Lake Sugar Tree, a lot of these older tracks and stuff. And I kind of got into it, but wasn't really serious. Well, then I tore my right ACL at Kathy's back to back years.
Oh, dang.
Yep. And kind of put it away. Wasn't really well known. I just kind of kept to myself. Just weekend warrior, kind of ordeal, show up, race, whatnot. And then I went to four wheelers, raced TT racing for 6 years, close to seven, and ended up with 8 concussions, shattered shoulder. I got shot at a track.
God dog.
It was ridiculous. And people ask me constantly, well, is it worth it? Well, let me ask you, you really just got to know me this year. And, you know, I've been through it this year, man. Brand new bike of mine got stolen.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of put me down. I was like, man, is it really worth it? But here I am again, coming back into the 2023 season, bigger goals, bigger things. But anyways, Loretta's is just right around the corner, man. We got the Northeast area qualifiers. We're kicking off with Birch Creek. I I think we're gonna have some heavy hitters this year in Loretta's.
Yeah, yeah. It's man, it's one of those things. I've seen some of the kids that I like that I'm pretty sure are gonna try. Um, I have a fairly decent idea of the ones that can make it. Um, it's just one of those things you just got to see, man. It's always tough. Like, I mean, Loretta's is hard, dude. Like it's one thing, when you're there, but getting there is like the biggest issue. It's so hard to get there because it's so many dudes, and it's like it can go any which way. It's just so tough.
Yeah, and not only that, but with the economy the way it is now, you know, when the pandemic hit, it took a toll on the motocross community, man. I know y'all couldn't run hardly any tracks because of the state mandates of, you have to have a work letter and stuff, be out, curfew and stuff. And, a lot of when that had happened, a couple tracks had shut down, not only motocross, but TT racing, stuff like that. But now you're starting to see some of them come back into the big picture, like Black Ankle, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I used to race Black Ankle back in the day, man. That was one of the best tracks. And now they got trails, they got a motocross track. I did an interview with a buddy of mine earlier, and we think that place has major potential to become like a public training facility. I mean, look at Club. Black Ankle still has that potential to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it to be, honestly, like, and this is just my personal opinion, like, there's already an overabundance of training facilities right now. Like, I don't think there needs to be any more. I think there needs to be plenty of racetracks. Like Black Ankle as a racetrack, I like the idea of it better than I do a training facility. Just because the thing about training facilities, I feel like training facilities kind of pull away from the local scene, and that's what kind of kills tracks because one, it costs so much to stay at a training facility, not only just to stay there, but to upkeep bikes, food, like living. It's so much, and like when you do that, you're there to fulfill like that void of racing because they want you training and racing those guys there on a daily. Which I mean, I understand that's what it's for, but me personally, I would rather go for the just get out and go race, go hit some actual uh go hit some actual gate drops. That's me. I mean, I know you get gate drops at a training facility, but one thing to me about that, I mean, you're racing. I mean, you're training with those same dudes every day, so you kind of get a feel for how they're going to ride, how they're going to race. So you never really get outside of your element like you do in racing. So, I mean, for me, I that's like me. I like Black Ankle as a racetrack better than I do a training facility. But that's just me. I mean, if that's something they want to do, I mean, hey, I'm not against it, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah. I want to bring up another topic, and you may or may not be familiar with it, but the ATV motocross scene is going away with local tracks.
Oh yeah, it is.
Do
It's
you,
it's
I mean, what's your opinions on that? I mean, like I said, I don't judge. I'm not going to judge. I mean, what you got to say is what you got to say. I mean, it's just a topic that some people have brought up here lately, and there's multiple reasons, but what's your opinion on it?
I mean, I have, I don't really have a problem with it. I just, it's not a, it's not a lot of them, which due to the fact a lot of tracks are doing away with them just because, I mean, I don't have a problem with four wheelers. Yeah, I mean, they're rough on tracks, but also it depends, like, how, like what series you're in and what track you're on. Like I feel like, say, the tracks that don't really want to cater to the whole rough and super rutted scenery type riders, I feel like four wheelers are okay. It's not that big of a deal because they're not ruining anything. If you want a hard and fast slick track, I mean, a four wheeler helps out that aspect, and I mean, they ain't doing no damage anyway.
Yeah,
But I mean, if it's like a rutted track, And like, that's what people want. You got a lot of the riders there. And which don't get me wrong, if you accept them, they pay their money just like everybody else. That's just how
Yeah.
it is. I'm not against a four-wheeler, but in a sense, if it's one or two of them, I mean, to me, it's not really that fun. I've seen pro four-wheel riders. I like watching four-wheel, especially the dudes that are like gnarly as hell on them that go out there and jump everything on a pro
Yeah.
outdoor track that any other like top riders will. Like, I dig those dudes. I'm not against them, but I mean, for me, it's like, and like I say, it all goes back to the fact that a lot of tracks are doing away with them, so a lot of guys aren't coming out. So the tracks don't feel like it's worth it to take away from their regulars to have them, there. So I mean, I get it. I see both sides, but like I say, I'm not against them. I like them.
Yeah. Now, and there's rumors going around. I'm not gonna say who said it or whatever, but rumors are saying that you know having to be struggling for the word, but and it's an insurance issue with some tracks too, with the four wheelers coming in. But I mean, that's why you got that waiver as soon as you come in the gate. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that. I mean, me personally, the issue is like them hurting anybody or anything. I think the more the issue is you know, the regulars and the other, families and riders and spectators, not liking the fact that I mean, they kind of it ruins the criteria of the track for the bikes more than anything. I
Yeah.
think that's the big fuss about it. I don't really think it's the fact that I mean, because most of the guys that come there, they're not really trying to go out there and set the world on fire. They're just trying to come out there, break a sweat, and have a little fun on the wheeler and go over some different obstacles. They ain't trying to make no noise. They're just out there chilling.
Yeah. Um, let's hit on a couple more topics of some local riders. One big rider who's came back into the picture just all of a sudden. What about old T Mac?
Oh, Tyler McSwain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's always. I mean, Tyler's always been fast. Always will be fast. His biggest downfall that hurt him more than anything is just injuries, which was unfortunate. It's just, I mean, every time he have a good year, you know, like the year, I think I want to say it was like, God, 2012, 2013, maybe a little later than that when he won a 450 championship at Loretta's, and then right after went to Echikani and broke his femur. So it was just like a up, and then it went right back down. It's just one of those things that was always like the story of his career, and it sucks because I mean I've known Tyler for years. I've known Tyler since he was like nine or 10. Actually, I met him over at the JGR track before it was JGR when he rode for Rockstar Suzuki on '80s. Um, well, no, let me rephrase that. He was on Team Green Monster Kawasaki at the time before he went to Rockstar after he turned his ankle all the way around. But he that's always been like the biggest thing, and he's a fast dude. I mean, I feel like it's crazy because a lot of people don't realize like even like when Plessinger got his ride, Tyler was still right there with Plessinger, like speed wise, and it was just like I said, injuries that always plagued him, and he's still fast, like he's still ungodly fast.
Yeah.
Um, it's just one of those things. It's like the scenery and how you know guys are going about getting rises their time has changed so much. It's like for him like to do it, he's it's going to be like an absolute grind. Not to say he can't do it, but like in a sense, the way he would have to do it almost was like go through the Kicker Arena Cross Series, be able to stick with it, stay healthy, dominate it for a few years, hop on the Supercross scene, make some night shows, get in some main events, go to outdoors, ride in the 250 or 450 prove he can, not only get on the main gate, but, get in the top 15, close to the top 10s, on a privateer or satellite bike or something close to good, to
Yeah.
actually get back up there and make it happen. Not to say he can't, because he could, but it's going to take a lot, along with a positive mindset and a strong mindset.
And I've messaged him back and forth on Messenger on Facebook, and I mean he's got a lot of positivity going into this season. He got he signed with Dirt Bike Hooligans. They got him a bike. He's been out to a couple of local tracks, and when he showed up at Revolution, I mean, I've never seen somebody ride so smooth. It's ungodly the way he rides.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I,
it
I talked
is.
I talked to him, and he said that he's wanting to go back to a national level. I mean, what does he have to lose, man? I mean, he's got the speed. He's got some people backing him. Why not?
Oh, yeah, no, he can definitely do it, man. Like I say, it ain't even so much as the speed. There's so many guys out there that have speed. And Tyler is one of those guys. Like, I mean, people can, like, you got a lot of people, even some guys up in the, ranks that he's had run-ins with, even on social media, that try to, talk down on him. And like, he may say, like, all right, how does this dude rightfully earn it? But in a sense, I could say, like, Tyler has room to talk. He's done it. He's got championships under his belt, dude. Like, he's a lot of those guys out there he's beat before and probably still could. It's just
Yeah.
the mindset. It's like, when he shows up, can he keep his mind in the right place to ride that same way, no matter who's on the gate? I think that's a big thing as well too. Not to say he can't do it, but that's one of the main things.
I agree. Um, you're heavily associated with Chris Fortune's series, the Outlaw Series. It's a local series here in North Carolina, and Kathy's Creek has been around for how long, man? I mean,
Years,
it's
a long
it's
time.
it's, it's an old track, and there's also rumors going around of possibly running the track backwards for the day races. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, we talked about it last year. We hadn't said anything about it. Sounds bad, but anything about it this year, man. Like, just because we're so busy with work, like, I mean, people don't realize, like, people love that track. He loves it. He loves the series, and that's the thing. Like, they think he does it for money. No, he does it to give people a place to ride. He don't do it for
Yeah.
the money. Like, trust me, he don't need the money like that. That's
No,
not paying for any of his stuff. Trust me, I know.
no.
Like, grading is what makes him the money. I'm there every day. I'm driving with him, Tanner.
Yeah.
Moving dirt. That's what pays the bills. He does it because, I mean, Tanner raced. Tanner was that kid that raced. They're from Flat Rock. There's no
Yeah.
tracks in Flat Rock. There's no tracks in Hendersonville. There's no
No.
tracks in Asheville. There's nowhere to ride up there.
No.
So that all started to give them somewhere to ride, and that's how he still looks at it. He's trying to give people a place to ride, and even though he don't do it for the money, but he puts a lot of money into it. Like, every year he adds lights. I mean, he creates more parking. He buys new equipment for the track. He constantly tries to put money into the track to make sure it's safe, it's rideable, it's fun.
Yeah.
He does it out of the goodness of his heart, because, I mean, he's that good of a guy. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure something in the works for sure. I mean, we're supposed to start on it at the beginning here in the next few weeks or so. We just been so busy with grading, it's been
Yeah.
unreal. So, I mean, we're we're definitely trying to do something for sure. Though we did haul in a lot of gravel to for some more parking, and trying to get stuff going to add in more hookups and stuff. So
Yeah. And another track that really, really impressed me was 221 this year. I mean, that track has a lot of potential.
oh yeah, it does, dude. That's, to me. I mean, honestly, it's a premier track. I mean,
It gets rough too. So I mean, it's
oh yeah.
close. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I was watching a YouTube video and a guy was behind me and he had a GoPro and just seeing how rough or how much, you know, beating and banging your body takes
Mm-hmm.
hitting a braking bump, much less 10 or 15 of them going down a straightaway,
Mm-hmm.
acceleration bumps too. But, getting old ain't no fun.
No, man, that's the thing. That's another one. That's just them. Like when they did that, him and Mr. Parton, like they did it to add to the series, and man, like that's another place they put so much time and money into it. Like even the parking, like the hills, like they cut the hills out to add more parking so you can see over. Like not only that, they got the creek where you can go play in, and that other side of the creek, he bought that whole other like side of land over there people don't know about. So
Yeah,
eventually, like they can park them on the hills up there. Like they're trying to add to it and make it to where, hey, like the East Coast, North Carolina, South Carolina, like it's the place you want to be to race and
yeah,
ride. Like I mean, not just Florida, California. Like you want to be here, like just so to show, like, hey, our tracks are just as competitive as anything else.
absolutely. Everybody loves that Florida dirt and sand out there, but each area is going to be different, and it just gives the whole sport a challenge.
Oh yeah,
And speaking of age, man, it's hard not to talk about it, but Hayden Deegan,
oh yeah. Oh man, the kid's a ripper.
what I mean, do you think he shut the critics up last night?
No, I mean, with the last, I mean, he's never going to shut up critics, no matter what he does. I mean, that's just the ongoing process. It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, soon as he signed his life away on that Star Racing Yamaha contract, hell, the day he threw his leg over that dirt bike and decided, like, hey, I want to be that guy. The name Deegan came along with a lot of unwanted territory, and critics is a part of it. Like, and it's nothing and taking nothing away from him. The kid's fast. He's going to do great things. I mean, like I said, like on our Imperative podcast, if he gets out front, he's hard to guard. Like he's trouble. I
Yeah,
mean, the only reason he's getting solid fourths right now, and honestly, I think he would do a lot better. It's just the nature of him learning. Of once you get in the pro rank, it's a different level. Yeah, his
yes,
talent and speed's there, but it's also got to be, he's got that he's got dog in him, but he's got a
he's got to
he's
be
a
smarter
dog.
with it.
Yeah, he's a dog out there with a bunch of
Yeah,
lions, cheaters, and tigers. So he's just got to, that intensity. He's got to up it, you know. And he's learning. He's learning. He will definitely get there. I mean, like I say, people can say what they want. You know, Brian has a shit ton of money. That family has money, but money ain't buy that kid's talent. It didn't buy his work ethic. It may have bought some of the best trainers and coaches, but it didn't buy his talent. It didn't buy
no,
his work ethic. It didn't buy his drive. You
no,
can't buy a kid's speed. That's one thing you cannot do.
no, and nowadays I enjoy seeing little kids coming to the track, but then you also have the kids that come to the track and just sitting there with their phones stuck in their face.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to get faster. And no, Deegan put in that work.
Now, granted, I know and I understand he wants to be in the history books. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But like I say, he can win as much as he wants. But right now, and it ain't even so much as a YouTube sensation. He's a YouTube sensation, but he's fast on a dirt bike. That's what made him a YouTube sensation. That
Yeah,
and his dad, his dad's name. His dad put it in the networking. But at the end of the day, that's how I see it. Like they're gonna criticize him, but my opinion, he will never make the money in racing that he has from social media. He will never make the money in racing that he has from social media.
I agree with you 100%. Um, Before we go on to the next subject, is there any kind of hold on, hold on.